Hello, welcome back. My name is Mr. Wheeler, and I'm talking about different ways to help you navigate this TOK course. Today I'd like to talk about some resources that you may or may not be aware of. The metaphor I like to use is a toolbox. Literally, imagine a toolbox in which instead of putting hand tools, you're putting in what I would call TOK tools. Things that will be helpful to you on your assessments or in your understanding of how knowledge works in different areas of knowledge. So, I tell my students, oh, here's an article, put it in your TOK toolbox. Oh, here's a website, put it in your TOK toolbox. I don't know, I just like that metaphor. Works for me. I think the main tool that is effective, a lot of teachers will use a TOK textbook. There's some TOK teachers I've talked to who would argue that you don't need a textbook for TOK. I could go either way on that. But I think for newer teachers, they're probably going to find themselves. I know I did when I started teaching TOK. I didn't really have a basis or a framework, so I relied on a textbook. As I've gotten more experience with the course, I've relied less and less on textbook. But because we switched to a new curriculum for 2022, I decided to go back and take a look at the different textbooks that were out there for the new curriculum, and I'm partial to the Hodder textbook for a couple different reasons. I think it's well organized. I don't have anything negative to say about the other publishers. They publish fine stuff, but this particular book is organized around the knowledge framework. So every chapter is broken down by scope, perspectives, methods and tools, and ethics. Lots of good, there's good activities. The knowledge questions are strategically placed. There's what I think makes having a textbook very helpful and effective is these little dialogue boxes that talk about TOK traps and assessment tips. Those are worth it right there. The things that over the years examiners have been frustrated by, the authors of this textbook have incorporated workarounds for those problems, solutions that students can adopt as they plan and execute their assessments. The TOK training that I went to last year was conducted by one of the authors, Carolyn Henley. So, super knowledgeable and was able to answer a lot of questions about the new curriculum. And of course, co-author John Sprague has published numerous articles in a publication that is no longer in publication, I'm sorry to say, but it's called IB Review. If you can find a copy of that, digital or otherwise, super helpful articles on all the different IB subjects. I'm not sure if they're available online, but I know John Sprague has published a lot of articles on TOK. Very helpful to me, and usually I find myself sharing those with the students. So your teacher may have a textbook different from this, and that's quite all right. But these aren't super expensive, so if you don't have access to a textbook, I would suggest you at a minimum this is what I call the big textbook, because it covers the whole course. This is a little bit thinner, a little bit less expensive, but it's got some great tips and tricks, and sort of a mini version of the larger textbook. Some other good resources that I think are beneficial for TOK, and there's probably, for every one resource I mention here, there's probably 10 others that maybe I should have mentioned, or to be honest, I may not even be aware of. And what really makes TOK interesting is, you as knowers have the power and the potential to discover things on your own without a teacher telling you to go do these things, and share them with your fellow students, or share them with your teacher. I know my students send me emails all the time. Hey, I found this article. I think it, it relates to human sciences. Or hey, here's a cool video on YouTube that reminds me of that conversation we had about knowledge in the arts the other day. This graphic, before I talk about what's on the left, this graphic on the right is something I share with the students, a media bias chart. And I think it's an important thing to kind of keep in mind that, when you're evaluating resources, you might think that you're looking at something that is objective or neutral. And you might be surprised to find out that may not be as objective as you think it is. So really, when you're exploring articles, doing research, and this would apply to your extended essay as well, and your internal assessments when you're doing research, try to be aware of, is there a liberal or a conservative bias for the news media outlet that you're looking at. So these in the middle would be more of the neutral brand of media. And then the further left you go, these are going to be the more liberal, obviously, and the more right, these are going to be the more conservative. Just having that knowledge can help you be a better TOK student by understanding the role of bias and what that plays, the role that plays in knowledge production. TED Talks. I don't know if I could teach the course without TED Talks. There's just a wealth of information in TED Talks with key thinkers, people who are pioneers in fields, people who have interesting perspectives. If you haven't introduced yourself to the realm of the TED Talk, you're really missing out. All of these TED Talks are free to watch. You can watch them on TED.com. They're also on YouTube. You can search by subject. You can search by, if you know the speaker's name. There's playlists that are, so if you're looking on something for, let's say, arts, you could just search TED Talks on art, and you'll get a whole list of possibilities. There's more TED Talks than I can show. My list just for arts alone, I've probably got 20 or 30. I might show 5 or 6 of those, but I'll make a list and I make them available to the students. Eon Magazine, it's an online digital magazine, and again, the articles have to do a lot with philosophy, with science, technology, ethics, psychology. A lot of the themes and subjects we touch on in IB, they can be pretty dense. They're written by mostly college professors, people who are in the field. So an article about neuroscience and maybe consciousness is going to be written by somebody who's actively researching in that field. But a lot of the issues that we talk about in TOK that have to do with knowledge generation, with producing knowledge, and how do we know something is the case, often these articles raise those questions. So they can be a great tool for learning how to do what I call a TOK analysis. Okay. Learning how to look at, what are the assumptions inherent in the article? Does the author have any potential biases? Is there, what are the implications for knowledge making? Key questions to ask. Big Think is got a YouTube channel and of course their own website, and they produce short videos, anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. Variety of speakers and subjects, but a lot of TOK related materials, stuff on the economics, psychology, philosophy, just all kinds of stuff. I like them because they're short. Anything under 10 minutes I like. If it's over 10 minutes, it can either be taxing on your attention or taxing on my class time. So and again, I make these things available to my students, and I encourage them, when I don't have class time to share these things, I encourage them to go look on their own. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Closer to Truth is another website, especially for religion, religious knowledge systems, philosophy. Lots of videos on the extent to which truth and beauty exist. Is math discovered or invented? Lots of videos on free will, and so if you're in IB philosophy, that's a good resource. Podcast, there's too many to list here, but podcasts are sometimes an underutilized resource. whatever your favorite subject is. Chances are you could be listening to a podcast about, your favorite rock band or Harry Potter, and there might be things in there that get you to think in a TOK sort of way. I'm not necessarily talking about podcasts specifically related to TOK or knowledge. I'm just talking about podcasts on, it can be a true crime podcast. But that will get into the human sciences. It might get into psychology. It might get into, forensic science, forensic evidence, and the role evidence might play in a criminal trial or something like that. And then again, with the media bias chart, know your media outlets. You don't want to cite from something that isn't a reputable news source. That's all I really have to say about resources. This time's out. I would say, don't necessarily wait for your teacher to point you in the right direction. I think most teachers would be happy to point you in the right direction, but again, someone who's new to TOK might not necessarily know where to go. And things that you find on your own, feel free to bring them to your TOK class. The more we share, concept of shared knowledge, the more we share and the more that we, help each other out, it just simplifies the course. This is not a course where we're trying to, become, smarter than the person sitting next to us. In fact, I would say TOK is a course where you're not really supposed to learn new things. You're supposed to take what you already know and apply it in real world context. So that's all I have for this round. We'll see you again for the next video.
Mr. Wheeler, that was amazing. Guys, drop some love for Mr. Wheeler in the comments. You can even share this video with your teacher so he or she gets a better idea of TOK. If you like this video, hit subscribe and watch my future videos. Also, follow me on Instagram at IBLikeCole because I post things on my Insta that I don't post on YouTube. Alright, take care guys. Have a great day.